Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you? How are you? I am so excited to be with you today because we're talking about something really, really important. And that is feeling like everybody around us has this amazing ability to eat whatever they want and you don't. And really feeling frustrated by that, feeling disempowered by that, feeling like you can't get in front of that. And that's really, really challenging. And some of you have partners and people in your life that don't struggle with weight. And sometimes it can feel really lonely, like you're the only one who is going through this, the only one who feels like you can get in front of this. So I want to talk to you today about I'm going to bring up my notes here. Hold on. I want to talk to you today about why is it hard to say no to food when everyone else feels might be eating. When your husband comes home from work and you guys eat dinner and then his routine is to sit down in front of the TV and eat, what do you do? What do you do with that? Does it seem like he's self-sabotaging you? Does it feel like your partner just doesn't understand? When you go out to restaurants and you're going out with the girls and you're like, let's go have fun. And then you notice that, oh my goodness, I've had enough, but everybody else is still eating. And then you go, oh my gosh, I need to keep going. I need to keep eating. I need to really, and it just feels hard. So I want to talk to you about that. What do you do? How do you say no? How do you start getting in front of some of this social eating and this connection? And let's look at 3 ways that I see this come up a lot for women in my practice, in my coaching, in the work that I do. So there's 3 main reasons that I see that women really struggle in this area. The first is with temptation. You feel like, oh my goodness, everybody else is eating and I can't eat as much. Or, oh, that neighbor just brought cake and now I can't eat it. And that feels depriving in nature. Or you're out, like I was saying, with the girls and you're out and you're having fun and you're feeling satisfied. Or you feel like you should have a salad and everybody else is eating everything else. And you feel like, dang it, why can't I eat the same? Okay, so the first thing is that temptation. You feel like others are tempting you all over the place. And I remember this feeling when I was losing weight. I remember thinking at one point, like, do I just need to kind of like hide and really just keep myself at home because there, at least I know I'm safe with honoring my body. And then I know that I can do this. But then I would think, but if I put myself in these situations where others are eating and others are tempting me, oh no, I'm going to be really feeling like I'm in a lot of trouble. And so I want to encourage you that this is a different way of thinking about this. This actually isn't the right way to think about this. You can be light and lean and healthy and be losing weight in the space of being with so many other people, with being with so many friends, with so many loved ones that your partner is not ruining this for you, okay? We're going to look at this today. The other thing that I hear all the time, especially you amazing empaths, especially those of you who are highly sensitive, who like to take care of others, is the fact that you feel like you're going to hurt somebody's feeling. Somebody offers you food and you feel like you have to say yes. It's a feeling. You feel like you are going to disappoint somebody. That's the thought. So that's the second thing I hear all the time is that, Marta, I feel like I'm just going to disappoint people if I say no. I feel like I'm going to offend somebody if they've just made something. If I say no to their food, it's like I'm offending them. I feel like other people are going to be offended or I'm going to hurt somebody if I just sit there and not eat. That could be offensive. So I just want you to notice that line of thinking. Let me see if I can increase my mic. I'm hoping, can you guys hear me now? I'm hoping that you can hear me. Better, better, better. Is that better? I hope so. Let me see if I need to change anything. Let me know if you can hear me, okay? I would hate for you guys not to be able to hear me. Oh, all right. So the last thing that I hear from people, you can hear me fine. Okay, just want to make sure, Michelle, maybe turning off, coming back on might really help. I don't know. The third thing is that I love the connection. I love connecting with people around food, and I don't want to miss out on that connection. I love connecting with my partner. I love connecting with my husband. I love connecting with my wife. I love connecting with my kids, my friends, my family. And so it can feel like, well, if I stop eating or I don't eat as much, I'm going to lose my connection. So can you relate to one of these three? Feeling like you feel temptation, you don't want to disappoint others, and it might be harder for you to connect with others and your loved ones if you say no to food at times. Tell me, are any of these relating to you? I just want to make sure I know that I'm pinpointing some of these things that might be coming up for you. Feel free to write in the comment section, yep, I can relate, yep, and share with me which one, because I want to make sure this is resonating with you and that we are on the same page here around some of these things that can come up in relationship with others that can encourage ourselves to eat more than what our body wants and needs. Okay? Yes, you feel temptation and you have a feeling that food is love. So I want more of it. Awesome. Awesome. Great. So if you are feeling like these are coming up in your life and you're feeling like, and you're noticing that it's moving you towards eating even more than what your body needs, then I'm so glad you're here, because let's discuss this. I have a strategy for you. Good. I like seeing, Kelly, that you can relate. Yes, Karen, it could be the connection one, the connection piece. Great. Okay. So I want you to know that others are not getting in the way of your eating and your weight, and it's your thought about it, your thought. And so here's what I mean. Let's say you eat dinner with your spouse and you're sitting on the couch watching TV a little bit later on, and your spouse has a habit of grabbing food. He grabs some chips, okay? And you notice those chips. You're like, ooh, I want them too, right? What is that? I want them too. It's a thought. It's a thought. I don't want to be left out. They look so good. I want them. I had a hard day too. I want to be connected to him, right? We start to notice these thoughts. Now, here's the piece. The piece that we have to do to get in front of this is that we have to actually know what these thoughts are. And I'm going to tell you, I'll have a form for you to help you, okay? But we have to know what these thoughts are. What is your brain telling you when you're in these social situations, when you're with your spouse, when you're in these moments, alone even? But it can be when you find yourself starting to really go into, I like it around the social connection today, when you really start to think about what is it that I'm telling myself around the connection, around feeling left out, around those chips. What are you telling yourself? And here's the thing. A lot of times we think, oh, I'll just think about it. No, we got to get this out on paper. You actually have to see what are the thoughts you're telling yourself. You actually have to see on paper what is going on. And so I want you to start to see this as, wow, my brain, not always my desires, but my brain is is thinking thoughts that's leading me to these desires, that then leads me to the action, and then the reward of having food, or the reward of numbing out, or the reward of feeling like you're being connected with other people. Okay, do you see that? Do you see how that starts to happen? Oh, your thoughts. And here's what we know. We know that you've just habituated, for most of you, these thoughts around the pattern of eating with your spouse, eating with your partner, eating social situations, right? You've habituated that. Those thoughts are what's leading you to then eat more. And so I want you to start looking at, what are those thoughts? What are the things that you're telling yourself when somebody else is eating and you feel left out? You feel deprived. You feel like, oh man, shucks, woe was me. Oh, why do I have to do this? Everybody else gets to eat stuff and I don't. Right? I want you to start noticing the conversation that you're having in your head. What are these thoughts that are pervasive oftentimes in your psychology around food and your body that you've just repeated over and over and over and over and over again? And they are keeping you from losing weight. Because the more you repeat them, these sentences, these phrases, the more they're pushing your results of what you really want down. So if we can change this and improve this for you, you can see a different result for your weight and your body. And if you guys are having any difficulties with the connection, feel free. You can always pop onto the phone and I sent an email with that, or I'll just send you the replay. You'll have the podcast tomorrow, okay? And I don't want this to be frustrating. Okay? Yes, always a tough spot. How do I let them eat and I choose not to? Yeah, so we're going to look at that today. Great question, Tony, because that's right where we're going today. So, we don't need to change them. It's not your partner's fault. We like to blame our partners a lot for stuff. It's not mom's fault. It's not anybody else's fault. It's not kids' fault, right? We like to blame them too. We like to blame other people, friends' fault. It's none of their fault. It's that our thoughts are making it difficult. Our thoughts are making you believe that that's the way to connect. That's the way to have a relationship. That's, you can't stop. The food is so good. It's too compelling not to, or to avoid, right? All of those are just your thinking. So what's the answer? How do you start to solve this? Well, one, you start to get really clear of the thoughts that you're having and you get them down on paper so that you actually are clear of what you're telling yourself and what's getting in the way of you reaching your weight goals. Because this is getting in the way. 100%, no question. This is absolutely getting in the way of you losing weight. Thinking that you need to connect, thinking that you're feeling left out, thinking thoughts that you're missing out on something, thinking that you're disappointing others. Okay, so that's one. What are these thoughts that keep getting in the way that you've practiced probably unconsciously for a long time? Then we're going to look at the second thing. The second thing is understanding that these thoughts are creating your desire. These thoughts are responsible for your desire to eat, not your partner. It's your thought. And here's how we know this. Have you ever gone out to eat with a group of girls? You're having girls' night out and you're having so much fun. And there are some naturally thin girls in the mix who might have a couple bites. Other naturally thin girls that eat everything. There's a whole range, right? We know that because we know that the naturally thin can still choose to have an amazing time without feeling compelled to eat, without overeating, without gaining weight. How is it that some of these women you go out with are going to stay slim and trim and wake up in the next morning at the same weight, and you might gain weight. Why is that? It's not them. It's just your thought. And it's just their thought. And so when you get that thoughts create desire, then we have to work on the thought issue, not your desire issue, okay? It's not that you're broken. It's not that anything's wrong with you. It's that your desire for food is, if we pull back the curtain, it started with a few thoughts that are not serving you. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is then starting to get clear about asking yourself better questions. Questions that advocate for yourself, that advocate for who you are, that strengthen your desire for wanting to be thin. Let me give you an example of a few of these questions that I wrote down. A few are this: how can I support myself when I'm having this desire? How can I support myself to stay light and lean and healthy as my partner is eating? How can I stay honoring my body and have an amazing time socializing tonight at this event or this party or this dinner? How can I connect to my partner in a new way that serves my desire to be lighter, healthier, and thinner? Okay? So I want you to think about what it is that you can do in terms of your questioning, not your actions, but your questioning. We got to get better at the questions that we're asking ourselves so that you get better at then creating an answer that doesn't feel like you're deprived, that doesn't feel like, oh man, I'm losing my connection with my partner. I'm losing my connection with my friends. No, let's inspire and empower you, and so that you can be the best, most incredible advocate for your body, for your health, that you're not feeling like you're disappointing others, but instead you're empowering yourself. If your thought is, I'm disappointing others, of course you're going to turn to food. But if instead you had a different question that you asked yourself, like, how can I'm not hungry right now, but how can I still feel like I'm not letting anybody down when they offer me food? How can I feel? What do I need to think about my disappointment that will change that from disappointment to empowerment? How can I feel like it's okay to say no thank you to others and still feel connected and feel that love between us? Better questions, pulling them out of your brain, will help you start to really get in front of this so that you feel empowered instead of disempowered. You feel prideful. You feel excited about who you're showing up as, how you're showing up. And what I found is that once I started asking better questions and got clear about what it is that was not working, like what my desire was really about, and then I started to feel empowered. And I didn't have to use motivation anymore because my questions and my answers to those questions were empowering enough. And then I didn't have to sit there biting my nails going, oh my God, he's eating, I'm not. Instead, I could be like, oh, eat away, because I'm feeling amazing about the choices I'm making. I'm feeling so powerful about staying connected to my body. I see that this desire is only a thought, and I can move through this thought. I can change this thought right now by choosing a different thought. So I really want to inspire all of you today to really see that it's not anybody's fault Nobody's making you eat. No, unless they're shoving food in your mouth. Nobody else is responsible. Take your power back. Own that power. So, hold on to that incredible power inside of your body, inside of your heart, inside of your head, your desire to be thinner and lighter. Take a stance for it. And it's almost like you've got to be an unwavering building, standing still, knowing that you're taking a stance no matter what. But we got to get you knowing what it is that creates that desire and pulls you away from your desire to be thin and healthy and lighter. What are the thoughts that move you to gravitate towards food? What are those thoughts? Because if you don't know what they are, how in the heck can you make a difference in this area? So does this make sense? Are you understanding what I'm saying? And what I thought I could do is, as I was preparing this for all of you, I thought, you know what would be so helpful? It would be so helpful probably for me to have a worksheet helping you work through this with the questioning, with understanding desire. And so I will put that together. Haven't done it yet because I thought, oh my goodness, this would probably be like the icing on the cake to really have a strategy for you to walk through and put it in paper format, because I know that the best way for you to work through this is using paper. You've got to get these desire thoughts on paper. And then I will come up with a list of questions that you can start asking yourself, better questions that I want you to be answering. Okay? You got to do that part of answering those questions so that you do this full cycle. Okay? And then what I noticed when I was doing this was that then there were other questions, other desire statements that I would make. And those desire statements, I'd be like, okay, what are those statements? And I'd write them down. And then I'd see, oh, that's interesting. Well, no wonder why I want this food so badly. And then I'd come up with what are some better questions to work through. And then little by little, right? We're not going to tackle all of this at once. We're not going to get every statement, every desire statement. But if you tackle a few at a time, all of a sudden you don't feel this desire anymore. You're not compelled to eat because you're changing the habit. And how are habits created? A thought or an urge to eat, I should say. An urge to eat. And what is an urge? A thought or a feeling. The action of overeating or not eating. And then the reward of either feeling amazing about yourself for taking a stance and changing that habit and pattern piece, or the numbing out, or the 3 minutes of connection with somebody else, or that spouse, or that partner, or whomever. So let's talk about this real quickly, this whole notion of the connection. When we feel like one of the most important ways we connect to our spouse, to our kids, is through food and with eating, of course that feels like a big loss if you feel or think that you are going to lose that connection. So that's why this is so important to get on paper, everybody, because when you get this on paper, you can see and come up with a different way to connect to your kids, to your partner, to other people. If you feel like you're going to lose something, of course you're going to turn to food. Of course. Our brain doesn't want to feel like it's losing something. Our brain wants to feel like it's gaining something, like it's getting something positive. And so instead of feeling like, oh, I'm losing this connection with my spouse, I want you to think about how else can I gain that connection with my kids, my spouse, my partner, whomever? How can I transform this connection? How can I make this connection even deeper? Because here's the thing, that connection for 20, 30 minutes, maybe the tops with eating, it could be as little as 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Wouldn't it be better to then go for a walk, ask questions of each other, come up with a new pattern or play a game together, play cards? I tell you this a lot, that one of the things that COVID did is that it really created this desire for my husband to want to go for walks. Why? Because he got my undivided attention. He saw and felt my energy just kind of, and he would get that time with me of just talking and connecting and sharing. And I, in turn, loved it as well. But so that's one of the things that and our dog gets a walk out of it. So it became this connection point that's so beautiful. Connecting can look so many other ways, but we've got to do a little bit of the legwork to start looking at what are other ways to connect. What are other things you can do to start being in connection with one another? And I really want to make sure that you're doing the legwork. If this is an area for you, a struggle for you, a challenge for you, we've got to move your brain from all these desire statements that guide you to eat and overeat to these statements that empower you and excite you about being lighter and healthier and thinner. Okay? So I'm really, really excited about this work. It's really, really cool work when you think about this whole notion of desire and where it comes from. And the desire for food, where does that come from? And if we just know it comes inside of our brain in the way of feelings and or thoughts, and we can change our feelings and thoughts, to me, that is the most empowering thing ever, because it means that you are in charge of your destiny. You are in charge of creating a new relationship with food, losing weight, getting thinner, lighter, having the body and health you want. Isn't that freaking cool? I think it's awesome. It makes me so happy. So let's review some of these, okay? One, I want you to remind yourself, we are not playing victim to anybody else or the people around you. No more blame game. Nobody's making you, gain weight. Nobody's tempting you. Nobody is creating that connection with food. This is created inside of your thoughts. So what's the method to transforming this? One, get clear of the thoughts. Get clear of your desire thoughts. Get them out on paper. Two, once you get these down, look at them, understand them, see them, and have compassion for them, everybody. Have compassion, like, oh, these are really big. I see why I've been really feeling compelled to eat. Number three, start empowering yourself with better questions that inspire you and align you with being thinner, lighter, healthier, and move you into the direction that you want. But if you keep playing victim, if you keep thinking it's other people's fault, then what happens is you're making everybody else wrong versus standing up for and being empowered and standing for you having the thin, light, healthy, vibrant body that you want. When it's everybody else's fault, and my goodness, I have been there. I have absolutely been there, and I can be there at times where I'm like, oh man, they all want bagels, and I know bagels don't work as great in my body. I'll just have a bagel, woe is me, and then I'll choose to feel I won't choose. Then I'll feel crappy. You guys have been there. Or it's just easier to just not take a stand for your body, it seems. And then that becomes a thought, oh, it's just easier to not take a stand for my body. Instead of saying, hey, let's go to a different place where they have egg options for me. Right? It doesn't have to be hard, but it takes looking at this. It takes the wanting to change your body enough that you're willing to look at those desire statements that you have inside your brain and that you are willing and open to then start asking yourself questions that will move you toward health, vitality, feeling empowered and strong, and making it so this is like standing up for your body, no matter what. And guess what? The more you practice the new statements, answering those new questions, answering and taking action on them, celebrating yourself, right? The habit cycle, celebrating yourself, then guess what happens? Weight loss, weight loss, weight loss, body transformation, getting down to your desired weight easier and in a beautiful, healthy way that works for your brain. Not being on a diet, not controlling everything, not writing everything down, not feeling like you have to count calories and being super, super strict with everything. It's about making sure this brain, now there's nothing wrong with any of that if those of you want to count calories or fat or whatever. I just knew it triggered me. And for those of you that triggers you too, doing that, then looking at your desire questions, your desire statements, I should say, that you say, and looking at transforming them will inspire you in a completely different way. And then you've got to repeat these new statements, right? These new statements that empower you, repeat, repeat, repeat. So your brain starts to let go of those old and starts to feel empowered by the new and gets rewarded by your new actions and feels like, oh my God, I'm seeing results here. Oh my goodness, that was so awesome of me. I sat there, my husband ate, and I just sipped on some tea. Oh my gosh, we just created a new way to connect. That is phenomenal. I sat with my kids and talked to them instead of sitting around the table after dinner or when they came home at school and eat. Or I let them have a snack. I gave them a snack and I just sat there with my tea and with my lemon water, with whatever. And I just asked them questions and it felt so good to connect with them without feeling like I had to pick off their meal too or their snack. Okay? So I am so excited for you all to try this out. I'm so glad you love this. I'm so happy you feel inspired by this. Yes, this is really, really cool work. Now, what I'll do is in the podcast tomorrow, when it goes out tomorrow, in those show notes, I'll put a link to that form. And for those of you who are in the inner circle, many of which you are, I'll put that in our files with all the other resources that you have, with all the courses, all the resources that are in there. I'll put a link to that, okay? And I'll just dump it in and you'll have that to help you continue on your journey to slimming down. All right? If you haven't taken the free course, that's another way to get started with me. If you are taking the Thin Within method or you haven't taken it, that's what this work is about. It's really about doing the work in your head so that you can change your body. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so, so much for being open to looking at this work, your mind, that beautiful, beautiful mind that has only just gotten programmed around these desires. And now it's time to reprogram it in a new way. That's it. That's all you have to do. No more making yourself on your weight wrong. We're just making the changes that internally that are contributing to that weight. All right, everybody, have an amazing, amazing day. And I'll talk to all of you soon. Bye.